This is a quick performance installation video for our wide mount alternator power steering bracket for a truck balancer or 2010 and later Camaro balancer. We're going to start off by doing a little bit of pre-assembly here. We're going to insert our 120 millimeter bolts here and here. I will say, if you are using our remote reservoir mounted on the front, we're going to go ahead and load the bolts into those now, and that way we won't have to back them out later. We'll just hold this up like here. This goes just like so. A little difficult to do it, but anyway, that way our reservoir mounts just right here. And then we also want to take another 120 and mount it here. Now on the back side here, on the two lower ones, we're going to use the two longer spacers. These should be 3/4 inch outside diameter. And now we're just going to take this and bolt it to the cylinder head. All right, we're going to install into the cylinder head here on the two lowermost. And we're just going to get these finger tight so it holds it in place, and that way we will build the bracket off. I'm just going to go ahead and thread that in there just so it holds it in place, just a couple threads, and then go ahead and thread this one down as well. We're going to leave everything loose while we build, that way there's no binding or anything, and we'll get everything assembled, and then we'll go through a torque process. Down here on the bottom, we're going to take another 120 with our longest 1 inch outside diameter spacer here, and just go ahead and put that into the bottom. Once again, leave it loose, just get it threaded so we can build off of it. Sometimes it helps to shake the bracket just a little bit when the bolt starts binding a little bit. Now we're ready to put the back plate on the top. All right, we're going to install the back plate here by going ahead and backing this out. Take our 2 inch spacer here, load that up. I'm just going to take that right there and then get in this bottom bolt here, just like that. Go ahead and load that one up as well. The plate here matches the double pattern down, Slide that in. I just like holding it in place like that in between the steps so that it doesn't get away from me. And now we have the shorter spacers here. Just go in right behind like so, nice and easy. And as you can see, having that other bolt there is keeping this from jingling around and falling down. All right, now we're going to install our alternator here, and then we'll go through a torque sequence. You'll notice that we have a dual bolt pattern here. This is for the Corvette, and this is for F-body and truck alternators. So this fits almost every LS alternator. You can just mount that right up. I like to start here at the top. Once again, just gives us something easy to swing down from into here. And as you can see, this PowerMaster alternator that we sell in-house fits in just perfect in the truck location. 10 millimeter by 80 millimeter bolts with some flange nuts on the back. And we'll go ahead and snug those up a little bit. But once again, we're trying to avoid binding, but we want good alignment. So now we're going to take a little bit of the weight off of this. You can see that it just, you don't want to push it into bind here, but you want to take the weight off of it. And we're going to go through and we're going to tighten these up. And then we're going to go through a torque sequence where we tighten the ones into the cylinder head first, these four here, then to the block, and then the alternator. All right, so we've gone ahead and just tightened these up while supporting this. And so now we're ready to do the torque sequence. This is 10 millimeter bolts, and so we call it a torque spec of 37 foot-pounds. We do recommend that you actually, if you have a torque wrench, to actually use it. It's really difficult to guess where that actually is. Sometimes you can over tighten it, which is actually a negative that can cause some galling of your threads and everything like that. So we recommend just doing it correctly. And there we go. And then for back here, grab your 15 millimeter to support this. A little awkward doing it on camera. There we go. All right. Now here in this next step, this is actually typically the first step in the process, is to add this idler right here. Since this is truck spacing and pushed out, it's not that big of a deal. We'll go ahead and do it right now. 12 millimeter bolt comes in from the back, and there's a reason for that. We want you to do it like that. Machined idler here, your smooth idler there, and a 12 millimeter nut. Now, this is a 12 millimeter bolt, so we're going to recommend a torque spec of 50 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and get that torqued. We're going to do this installation with our all aluminum brand new Type 2 power steering pump, and it has this 5.5-inch pulley on here with these openings, which is really handy because when you slide it up here like so, you can actually have your bolt and ready to go, and you just install it like this. This is much nicer than, like, say, the truck P-Series pump where you actually have to uninstall the pulley in order to put the pump on. I like to go ahead and do the center one first. That way it holds itself in place while you're grabbing your other 8 millimeter bolt. And, you know, don't tighten them up too much, but make sure that you got it nice and flatly mated to the machine surface on the rear of the bracket. These are 8 millimeter bolts, so we have a torque spec of 15 foot-pounds, which isn't much. Once again, it would be better if you use the correct tools, and you'll have less issues going forward. We'll get these torqued, and now we're ready for the remote reservoir. All right, we're ready to install our remote reservoir. It has a couple tabs there that just slide right onto the bracket, easy to remove. I do like to go ahead and we make this 90-degree hose here. A straight hose will get there as well. You do have to worry a little bit about kinking. And so we just go ahead and put this 90 on here, get it pretty close. And I know I'm going off screen, sorry about that. And get this tightened up here. This will be easier to do this now. You get the idea. Go ahead and clamp that on, and we'll feed this through the window here down to the power steering pump. It's a little bit of twisty, but then you get it on there, and then it just goes nice and easy right onto our hose barb. Get both of these clamps here going, and you're good to go. So you see how our 90-degree is coming in here. One of the swap-friendly things that we did with this is we actually clocked this so that our pressure port would be right here as well. And the Corvette brackets, they're flipped inside like that. So this is going to give you easy access to have a pressure port coming out here and going down to your steering gear. Just one more improvement that we've made to make this a really swap-friendly bracket. All right, we're ready to install a belt. We do have a Gates belt chart with the recommended lengths and sizes. That's going to be determined about what you got going over here on the passenger side. We have our HD AC bracket, and then over on this side, it's going to matter which alternator you have. Do you have the small case or the large case? So even though our PowerMaster is a high output, it is the smaller case, and so that moves the center line of this down slightly as compared to the larger output would be farther out, needing a longer belt. Also, power steering pump pulley, there's lots of Type 2 pumps that can bolt onto this. So if you're not using ours, you know, if you have a 6-inch or a 6 3/4-inch pulley, that's going to determine which one you need. Just get this belt here going. One of the tricks I like to do is leave the water pump for last. That way it's a nice smooth bell to slip over there at the end. This is a 8-groove compressor, so we're going to run in the center of those 8 grooves there. Now we just take our handy dandy brake over here, wrench her down, slide her on. Am I out of a groove? Yeah, out of a groove there. And make sure you're down in all your grooves. We do want a belt that's a little bit tight. You don't want it to where you're having to push down here and can't get it to slide on, but you can see here the tensioner has a little bit of give. As this belt wears, it's going to stretch just a little bit. It's also going to set down deeper into the groove, so it's going to effectively make it longer. So we want to start out with a belt that's a little bit long. There's tensioner marks right down here, so you can actually take a good look at it. But this is going to be the type of thing, if you have too long a belt, you're going to have misalignment issues, you're going to have noise issues, and it's going to be a real headache. So getting the right belt length is going to be the most important thing you do here on in. Thank you for watching this quick performance installation video. If you have any issues or questions while you're installing the product, please reach out to us by email or phone. We do want to help you. We will get back to you. Also, if you have any issues with needing to get power steering lines from your metric power steering pump down to your SAE box, we make stuff for that as well. Please check that out. Give us a call. We want to make your truck as cool as possible.